Well, hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to make our first little simple, not really a recipe, more like a technique, but we're going to learn how to make clarified butter. There are so many uses and so many benefits using clarified butter over some other cooking oils and things like that. We're going to go over that and more right here, right now in the Fear of Cooking. Welcome back to the Fear of Cooking, guys, where we try to get you over your fear of cooking, get you in the kitchen cooking awesome foods for your friends and family, and hopefully maybe improve your life just a little bit. So like I said, I love butter. I put butter on almost freaking everything I got in my house. It's a great, healthy food, if you want to call it a food. I wouldn't say you eat a stick of butter, but it's a great food source. It has so many other benefits for it. But when you're cooking with butter, if you just cook with butter by itself, it's got a very low smoke point, right around 350 degrees. So if you're cooking stuff that gets hot or cooking stuff for a longer time, that butter is going to burn and change the flavor of your food, and it turns out to be nasty. With clarified butter, however, clarified butter is good to a smoke point of 480 degrees, almost up to 500 degrees. So it's a very versatile and very healthy way to cook if you don't have access to things like olive oil, canola oil, avocado, peanut butter, peanut oil, and stuff like that. Now I'll put a little chart over here, but for your other oils, olive oil has a smoke point about 375 to 405. Canola oil is 375 to 450. Avocado oil is up to 520, but avocado oil is very, very expensive. So I don't use that a whole lot just because it's just a very expensive oil. And then you have peanut oil, which is also good to 520 degrees, but you know, some people out there have peanut allergies and can't use peanut oil. So clarified butter is a fantastic thing for them. Now with using clarified butter over oils, you're going to get better flavor in your food. It's healthy and rich in vitamins. It's great for searing everything from fish, chicken, beef. You want to get a good sear on a steak, a good crust on a steak, clarified butter is going to do it for you. You can use it in sauteing vegetables. There's so many things you can do with clarified butter, and it's good for your skin, and we're going to make it easy right here in my kitchen today. Doesn't take too long to do it. And the other thing is, when you're making clarified butter, you're taking out the lactose. So we're going to remove all the milk solids and all the other stuff. So what I've done here in my pan, you can see I took 2 pounds of unsalted butter. That's basically 8 sticks of butter. I got them all lined up. All we're going to do is we're going to put them on here. We're going to get it to a boil. Once this comes to a boil, we're going to boil it for about 10 or 15 minutes. And what's going to happen is it's going to help burn off the liquids and the moisture in the butter, and it's going to separate what we want from the milk fats, the whey, and the milk solids, so we have a perfectly nice clarified butter. Now, when you have moisture in butter and liquids and stuff like that, that's what causes the growth and promotion of bacteria. So we want to eliminate that, and by boiling it, we get most of that out of there. We won't get it all out, we'll get most of it out. We'll get this up to a boil. I got the wrong burner on. Helps you have the right burner on, right? We'll get this up to a boil, about 10 or 15 minutes, and we're going to skim off a little bit off the top. Once that's done, I want to show you how we're going to get everything else done here. We're going to move it over into these different receptacles here, and we'll let it rest for a little while so it'll continue with the separation, which is going to be pure science at that point. The milk fats will go to the bottom, and we'll have just a little bit of stuff on the top, which we'll skim off, and we'll pour it through and filter it and get that all rolling. So we'll come back just a minute when this thing's boiling, and we'll show you what it looks like. Okay guys, just a quick little update here. I've got the butter in the pan. We're almost at the boiling point. If you look down in the pan here, you see it's kind of starting to react a little bit. Every once in a while, I give a little bit of a stir. I just want to kind of see how much this butter still needs to be dissolved. And we still got a couple pieces in here that have not completely melted yet. So we're going to continue to let that go. And like I said, when you first get this started, you're going to see foam come up to the top. Just don't worry about it. Let it cook through and let it do its thing. We're using science here, right? So let the science do the work. We're just going to kick back and we're going to reap the benefits of it afterwards. We'll be right back in just one quick second. Okay, guys, so if you look here in the pan, we now have a decent boil going, and I forgot to mention, I don't have this on the highest setting on my stove. I got it about 7.5, almost 8 out of the 10 choices on my dial. So I keep it there. It's boiling here. You see it start to react. You get that little bit of bubbles and stuff on the top. Just leave it alone. You can maybe stir a little bit every once in a while to kind of keep everything moving around, but just kind of let the work do itself. And once this has been boiling for about 10 minutes, we got a good boil going here, so in about 10 minutes from now, we'll be ready to start the next section. So we'll come back when that's ready to go. All right, guys, we're almost ready for the next step here. The butter has about another minute and a half to go before it's ready to come off the burner. Now, this is one of the few times, I know in my 10 commandments, I said to you guys, cook by temperature, not time. This is one of those instances where cooking by time is better. You just have to kind of watch the butter, and it's going to start boiling a little differently as it gets closer to the end where all the stuff is coming out of it. We don't want to have it cook too much because then it starts sauteing or burning the milk fats, and that makes what's called ghee, or like you dip your lobster and your shellfish and stuff into. We just want to get it to just get all the butter solids ready to go. So I think we're about there. I'm going to take this off the heat. And I'm going to grab my nice big, 8-cup eight cup measuring cup. And all we're going to do, we're going to grab carefully. This thing's really hot. And we're going to pour our clarified butter right into there. All right. So with that being done, all we're going to do now is let science do its thing. We're going to let this continue to just sit. And when we come back, or let it sit about an hour and a half, we'll come back and check on it. We're going to sit about an hour and a half. We're going to get all the remaining moisture off the top. At this point, the remaining milk solids should sink to the bottom. And then we're going to take our strainer and a bowl with some cheesecloth, and we're going to pour it through to further filter our clarified butter. Now, I forgot if I said this already or not. If not, we're just going to reiterate it. When you're done with this, you can store this outside of the fridge, because now, think about it, all the moisture's gone. The milk fats are gone, so nothing in here that's going to cause bacteria or anything that could screw up and make it bad. That's all going to be burned off and removed. So sitting outside on your countertop in a sealed container, this will last up to 6 months. If you put it in the fridge, it'll last up to a year. But this little amount here probably won't last too many cooking cycles. If you're using it on a regular basis in place of like olive oils and other things, this is going to be a very well and very well used condiment or tool in your kitchen. So it's going to solidify. Once it comes down to room temperature and you leave it out, it'll solidify on the counter. It'll solidify even more in your fridge. All you have to do is heat it up a little bit. So you can get a small sauce pot, put a little bit of whatever you're going to use that day for your cooking in there, heat it up till it gets melted, and use what you need, and then pour the rest back in and let it go back to the process all over again. You should be good to go. So we'll see you guys about an hour and a half. I'm not going to make you sit here and listen to me jibber jabber, but we'll get this rocking and rolling. About an hour and a half from now, we'll skim off what we need. I'll show you the next procedure, and then we are done. See you soon. All right, guys, so our hour and a half is up. You look here inside the pan, or inside the mixing bowl here. I have just a little bit of condensation up on the top there. So what we're going to grab a little spoon. And I just want to go in here and I want to lightly, carefully gather up that last little bit of moisture. We just want to get rid of that. So I'll put that in a small little cup over here to get rid of all that. Remember, we want to get all that moisture out of there. That moisture is what causes the bacteria, and that can screw up our clarified butter. One other little point is, when I was cooking this, I told you guys we got to bring it to a boil. And when you're boiling it, make sure that you pay attention to how high you have that heat. You don't want to burn the milk solids, because as you're boiling stuff, it's separating. It's separating the moisture, it's separating the milk solids, it's separating the clarified butter. So you don't want those milk solids at the bottom to get to the bottom of your pan and start burning. So turn that heat down. I know I had it down about 7.5 on my scale. Turn it down just as we're still boiling, but not burning the bottom of your pans. So with this done now, we're now ready to go ahead and start with getting the clarified butter filtered. So in getting the clarified butter filtered, we're now going to strain this through not only a strainer, but some cheesecloth. Now I've got two different types of cheesecloth here. One I bought at a grocery store, and it's very porous. If I pull this out, you can pretty much see through it. So you have to use multiple layers. It doesn't really matter what cheesecloth you get. This is about $2, and I got this on Amazon. It's also in my Amazon store. It's about $9. It's a much thicker, finer mesh cheesecloth to use for straining. So we're gonna get this open and get that into the strainer here, into the strainer bowl, and we'll get this all set up, and we'll get this rocking and rolling. Okay guys, so with our cheesecloth here, I'm just gonna drape this over. I wanna put that into the pan here. So this is a finer mesh than the other stuff I've got. It'll work really well for getting all the rest of the milk solids. There's a couple little milk solids in the bottom of our mixing bowl here. So I'm going to take this and we're going to carefully and slowly, we're going to strain this in. Now I've seen other people do this. They're talking about using like a coffee filter. Don't use a coffee filter. That's not really, it's going to take way too long and it's not going to really be effective. Now as you're pouring this, make sure you pay attention to what's at the bottom of your bowl. You're going to see those milk solids there. You don't want those in there. The strainer and the cheesecloth should catch most of it. We're going to stop just shy of all that coming down and getting into our mixture here and tainting all of our hard work. Actually, it wasn't really hard work, but you get the idea. So it's going to get that right in there like so. All right. So if you look down the bottom here now, you can see all these little bits of milk solid and stuff that were in there. So now we just take this out of here, bring that over. This can go into the sink, which is now ready for getting that cleaned. And there you have it, guys. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful clarified butter. So, like I said before, you can use this to saute anything to get a good crust. You can use it on steaks, chicken, all kinds of stuff. It's a great all-around and healthy way, and I wish you guys were here. I wish they would really invent smell-o-vision, because you can smell, my whole kitchen smells like just this cooked, awesome butter right now. So what I would probably do with this, let's say I want to get a little bit of this, and I want to dry off, because I want to introduce, we just spent all that time cooking off all that moisture. I don't want to introduce moisture into my nice stuff here. So, when you're ready to cook with this, if you have this, you can put this in a little Tupperware container and keep it in your fridge. You want to keep it in the fridge. Like I said, it'll last in the fridge up to a year. It'll last outside of the fridge for about 6 months. But this little amount here probably won't last maybe a month, depending on how much you cook. So what I would do is, if you're going to have some, if it has solidified, I'd take a little bit of it out, put it into a small little pot, and if you have a melt setting on your stove, use that to bring it back to a liquid form, and then just put it into a mixing or a little measuring cup. So like so. So I'd put a little in here. If I'm going to use that for that evening. And that way I've got right next to my kitchen, I got that right next to the stove here. So if I need to put it into a fry pan or any other pan for any kind of sauteing or any other cooking things I'm going to be doing in the kitchen, it's already ready to go. The recipe can go right back in the fridge and continue to be used later on. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much how you make clarified butter. I hope you enjoyed this. It'll be an invaluable ingredient to have in your kitchen. It's going to make your food taste really good. It's just got a lot of good benefits to it. And the most important thing is the really high smoke point of 480 plus degrees makes this a superior medium to use when you're sauteing and cooking in the kitchen. If you like this video, guys, please give me a thumbs up. That thumbs up, smash that like button. That really does help out the YouTube algorithm, show my video to more people that are interested in cooking videos. If you're new here, always remember, subscribe down below, click on the little bell. You'll be notified when I do new videos. And until then, guys, my name is Scott. This is The Fear of Cooking, and we'll see you soon.